block of issues. The question of regulation, cybersecurity, taxation, and other related matter. Mr. Örs Országh, Chief Innovation Officer at InterTicket.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here and being able to be here, and also for you to be here. Sorry. I'm from Hungary, and it was very, very interesting to hear so many great speakers, and it was also great to hear that there are already a lot of live services around the globe. In Hungary, 2 years ago, when we actually founded our company, we wanted to be pioneers in the blockchain world, and actually this is something that we already missed, and this is something that I'm not going to say that we could be pioneers, but at least we would like to be the first followers, and we would like to learn from the from all the experience you have already made. I really like to start with this Google Trends chart at many conferences. This blockchain conference may be not the best place, but I'm quite sure that if you have ever been to another conference, and mainly fintech, they always try to think that blockchain is part of fintech, or any other buzzwords that we are talking about. 5G, IoT, big data is actually bigger than blockchain. Google Trends shows clearly that the interest towards blockchain is way bigger than towards all the other buzzwords we are talking about, and all the other buzzwords and all the other technologies actually will benefit from the blockchain implementation. Even if we talk about the hype, and you can see actually January when, let's say, the crypto hype was on the top, even if we deduct this one, actually blockchain is the leading technology interest. I'm talking about hype. Blockchain created a great hype. Actually, you can find TED Talks about how blockchain is going to revolutionize the world, change the world, actually is going to solve all the problems we have. Actually, that's not the case. But I think if I say that, have you ever heard a TED Talk about MySQL? I don't think that you have ever done this. And actually, it shows that blockchain is something much bigger than any other technologies we had in the last 20 or 30 years. Also the hype. Maybe you are familiar with the Gartner hype cycle. This is quite new. This was published in August. But actually it's the same cycle that we have seen last year. So blockchain didn't really move. It's still in the disillusionment phase. But that is actually great. What does it mean that we are over the hype? For me, this is the first conference where none of the speakers wanted to define what blockchain is. It means that actually we are already speaking the same language, and we would like to know that what blockchain is. The other thing that no one talked about, the price of Bitcoin, which is also great, which for me also this is the first conference when no one was trying to find out what is going to be in the next few years. Our company was based on the same principles we've heard in the morning session, where it was told that maybe 10% of savings could be realized if you implement blockchain-based services, if you use blockchain as a technology in all your processes. We are not this optimistic. We were saying 2 or 3%, which is still a great number, but I would like to be very happy to believe to the presenter, Mr. Usher, that 10% is actually viable. In Hungary, we were appointed by the government that we should write a nationwide blockchain strategy. I also have to state that I'm not part of the government. We worked for the government, and actually we wrote a strategy on blockchain. And this is what I'm going to show you today. What was our goals? We had 3 goals. I think let's start with the middle, which is, I think, a no-brainer. We all do believe that actually blockchain is going to add to our, not just the society, but to our all the business we are doing. And actually, this is a no-brainer that we should have a blockchain-friendly, blockchain crypto and token-friendly environment. The next one is that we should be aligned with the EU regulations. I think until the end of last year, that was not an easy thing to do because actually there was no EU, there was nothing to align to. And I'm quite happy to say and see that actually this already happened. And now we see that which way we can go, and there is an EU regulation. The third one, which I already mentioned, that we wanted to put Hungary on the map as a hub or center for blockchain, is actually, I think, already something that we missed. But I think this region, the CE region, is a great place to be, and they have a good I have a good expectation that the region can be a hub and the center for blockchain technology. What we expect from this strategy, actually, we are going to have government decrees, we are going to have regulation, we are going to have, let's say, capital-friendly environment, because I believe that blockchain and the ICOs and all related businesses is going to get capital to the country. And also, which is not as obvious as the first three, we expect that there's going to be an emphasis on education. I'm quite sure that many of you already tried to explain what blockchain is and why it is good, maybe to in the private sector and in the public sector, and this is a very, very difficult thing to do. And if you can educate them, it is going to be much more easier to start projects and businesses. What we did, so we talked to everybody. By everybody, I mean we also consider ourselves as experts, and we have a vision, we have a view, but of course this is not enough, and there's going to be a lot of people and a lot of companies who are going to comment this strategy, so we try to talk to them as well. So we talk to academic players, university guys, we talk to the market players. Market players, I mean maybe the blockchain as a service providers, the big ones, IBM, Microsoft, and all the big guys who are already dealing with blockchain technology. And we talked with the public sector, with many companies, with many startups, and we talked to the, let's say, the Hungarian blockchain society. By Hungarian blockchain society, I mean those guys who don't want to go to prison in the next 3 years because they started something and they didn't know what they can expect. So this is the 8th suggestion for our enactment, and I'm going to give you a few minutes to read it. Okay, so this is in Hungarian. This is the first thing that maybe most of you will not be able to do, but I also wanted to show you the font type, so this is an official document, you can realize it. So we have 8 things, and what I think that regulating just the crypto world is not enough. So if you want, at least, and we are the followers, as I said, we are not pioneers, but as a follower, we would like to make a comprehensive regulation, and actually it involves not just the regulation of the crypto. But this is also important. We should regulate the crypto and the taxation, and also we had to understand that in the view of the state, in the view of the government, something that cannot be taxed actually doesn't exist or should not exist. So they would like to have something that they can put tax on it. Mr. Wang, I think, mentioned instead of ICOs, the STOs, security token offering, which is the current word for ICOs, because ICO is a bit outdated at the moment. But I think the ICO-friendly regulation is also required because it can bring you capital. It can help you to make the startups stay in your country and not going to for example, Malta or Gibraltar or Liechtenstein. All the players we met, and they were working in Hungary, they wanted to stay in Hungary. They knew that the regulation currently does not let them to start their companies, to start their ICOs, but actually they were working from Hungary, and they would be very happy if a regulator is actually let them to stay. We proposed to create a coalition for blockchain in Hungary, just like we have for 5G, and it works great. Actually, it involves all the related players, and really helped, and it's going to help for 5G to start and to launch, and I think for blockchain this is also necessary. We also proposed, and this is something that I think the EU has the same view on it, that a nationwide blockchain platform is needed, meaning that anyone who would like to interact with the government, it could be an information, it could be any interaction, there should be a nationwide platform, and maybe in the long term we will be able to have not just a nationwide, then an EU-wide or a V4-wide, and then a global blockchain platform, because interaction between the cross-border interaction is becoming much more important. We also think that the pension system is something that is a place where blockchain will be used and can be used, and we think that in the 8th suggestion, this is something that we should deal with. It's a huge topic, and I really hope that we will be able to use this. If you think about that, in the current, or for the next 10 or 20 years, where our employers are not in one country, but will be EU-wide, and when you want to go to, when you want to retire, and actually you will need all the information you need to have a pension, right? Then it is going to be very difficult to get this information together. So the pension system, it's a nationwide system as well, but also EU-wide or globally interesting system. We have already started in Hungary to give the customers e-identity cards, and I think a blockchain ID should be connected to all these cards. Then online identification and KYC is going to be much more easier, and hopefully, and I think luckily, the regulator is very open to start the negotiations how to put a blockchain ID to these e-identity cards. We also believe that in order that not only the government would use blockchain, but actually everyone in the country, we should find places where blockchain-based solutions can be used. And we really think that smart city is one of the focuses. There is a lot of use cases in smart cities, local cryptos. There are a lot of big data providers in the ecosystem, and the originality and the immutability of all the information that you will get from a smart city is going to be very important. Currently, what we do is we are gathering data, and we think that big data is a great stuff because we have a lot of data, and we can process it and have a good outcome. But very soon, not just the number, not just the size of this big data is going to be interesting, but actually the originality and the immutability of these data is going to be very important. And last but not least, but I also mentioned that the education support, this is also something that we highlighted in this, among these suggestions, is very important because we have to educate all the sectors, not just the public sector, the private sector. Even we need universities and colleges dealing with blockchain and educate people to blockchain. And I do believe that actually blockchain is much more than a technology, is very likely a philosophy, and it's going to have an effect on our society as well. Actually, these are the 8 suggestions we made, and we really expect that upon these, in the next year, Hungary will finally have a regulation, because this is I think, the missing link, the missing chain, that we would be able to create great services. And maybe one last thing I would like to mention. I told you that hype created that the blockchain created a great hype, but blockchain also created great communities. I think that if you turn to your partner at the table and greet each other, you will feel that actually we are talking the same language, we have the same opinion, and we have the same view, and maybe you are the people who really want to actually change the world. Thank you so much.